Hi, friends, it's Angel, and I wanted to come on here to address all of the comments that I've been reading and hearing about the Sean Diddy Combs case trial and Cassie Ventura. A lot of people have been asking, why did she stay? And I got an answer for you. One word, and it's grooming. That's why she stayed. Um, One thing I want to kind of point out is that she was 19 years old when they first met. And they did not start dating, right, until 2 years later. That means he groomed her for 2 full years. Okay. Groomed groomed her to be able to tolerate the abuse and keep coming back. Happens all the time. So what is grooming, you ask? Grooming is a slow process that predators use, okay, to gather data like what kind of support system does this person have? So this is the process that they use to see if you're a target and hone in on their target, right? So they want to know, what kind of support system do you have? Do you have a close-knit family that whether if I do something to you, that you got a whole crew that won't come after me? Or you got somebody to come in and pull you out, right? So they kind of they sit back and observe and do what they need to do to figure that answer out, right? And they test boundaries. They start doing little things, like might even say, like, I don't want you to go out with that person, and then they just want to see if you listen. They want to see how easy or hard would it be to convince you to do something that I know you want to do and convince you to not do it. So they start testing boundaries, right? They use these tactics to identify whether you're going to be a good target or not. And I know this shit sounds crazy. It sounds like, who in their right mind would do that? Well, most abusive people are not in their right mind. Okay. I'm not even going to go into that. I want to talk about grooming. I don't want to talk about the predators. I want to talk about their tools and their tactics that they use to get their target. So once they identify a target, then they look to see what's missing that I can offer, right? And so for different people, that means different things. So one thing is maybe feeling loved. Maybe they don't feel loved, and they'll share these things with you, right? Because over this time they build trust, right? You convince them, the predator convinces them that they are a safe place and that they got their back. But while they're doing this, they want to see what hole you got that I can feel. This is similar to the devil, by the way. This is what Satan does. I can let's talk about that. Digress. But it's the same thing. As I'm sitting here talking about it, I'm like, wow, that's the same thing Satan does. Satan looks for our gaps, right? Like he looks to see, what is this person weak in so that I can get them there, right? Like he looks for the gaps and the cracks in our life, and then he shoots right for that. He shoots right for that gap, right for that crack. Like for example, if you have a temper, right? So he gonna come at you. He gonna bring things your way to tempt you to go off, right? I mean that's how he works. But anyway, so they the predator looks for a gap. So whether you're not feeling loved, or if you don't have a lot of money, and they got money to offer. If you are looking for status, right? And in her case, she wanted to be a celebrity. She wanted to be this famous singer, right? And so they look for these things. They look to see, if you feel unattractive. They're going to make you feel like the most attractive person in the world. And if they have a little bit of money, they're going to help you be the most attractive person in the world. So if your teeth aren't the way you like them to be, they'll help you get your teeth done. If you want to lose some weight, they'll offer to pay for liposuction or, some type of cosmetic surgery. They help you to fill these gaps, right? So then they kind of become kind of like your savior, right? Like they helped you, they pulled you up when you were down, right? So now, because they've done this, now you feeling like I owe them something. Now, how can I ever repay you for filling this gap that I never thought would be able to be filled, right? So that's what it gets you. Then that's when they start saying, all right, all right. So then they ask you for something in return. And you are willing to oblige because at this point, like, look at what they've done for me. Something that my mom or my dad or no one else has been able to do for me. Look at what they did. So now you kind of feel obliged to fulfill this request. And so after you've done this, right? They're like, oh yeah, got him now. All right. So one thing to keep you there, to keep you returning these favors, is to isolate you. The last thing they want is somebody in your ear telling you, "Oh no, you shouldn't do that. Oh, you're worth more than that. You shouldn't take that. You should leave." They isolate you from those people because they don't want anybody undoing all of the time and effort that they put in to grooming you to do what they want you to do. Okay? So that is a big red flag. Because manipulation is hard when someone else is combating that, right? They can't convince you as easily. One of the other red flags in the beginning of the grooming process that predators do is love bombing. They shower you with like all these things and all of this, this missing thing. So it's like, oh, they got you, you know? And then uh once they get you here, then the abuse starts. Then the abuse starts. Whether it's physical, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, whether it's verbal, right? Or whether it's all of the above. That is how grooming works. Another important aspect to grooming and keeping someone in an abusive cycle, right, in an abusive relationship, is fear, where they will go above and beyond to prove to you that if you were to try to leave or if you were to go against them in any way, they will hurt you or someone you love. And then they do things to prove this to you, right? They'll make an example of someone else to show you this is what I would do to you, or even tell you about something that they've done that was dangerous or violent and say, this is what I've done before and I'll do it again. So, fear is a huge, huge aspect of, keeping someone in an unhealthy cycle. And I, I'm trying not to go the spiritual route, but I can't help myself because it's absolutely a part of this conversation because that's the same thing Satan does to us. To all humans is that he plays on our fears. He makes a small, incy wincy little area of uncertainty into this big, huge monster of fear and telling us things like, we're not worthy, we can't do it, we will fail, And that's the same thing abusive predators do to their victims is they tell them you can't leave. No one's going to love you more than I do. No one's going to do this. That's going to do this for you. No one can do this, and then because you're isolated, there's no one else saying, you know, that's not true. So all you have are your thoughts and what they're saying, and then you're seeing what they're doing and how much power and control they have over other things and people, right? So you're like, you feel stuck, okay? So one of the things I also want to point out is that a lot of people have a lot of things to say about why she didn't leave. Well, if somebody were to do that to me, I'm out. I want you to sit back and take a really good inventory of how many situations that were toxic that you stayed in longer than you should have. And I'm not saying that your situation was, of course, as toxic or to this level of abuse that she describes experiencing. But we all, every human being, has been in a situation that was toxic, unhealthy, and we stayed a little bit longer than we should have. And like I said, no, not to this level. But what did Jesus say? He who was without sin, throw the first stone. And with that said, none of us can throw any stones. So I'm going to ask for you to give some grace, some understanding, and evaluate at what point in time did you need grace and understanding when people were looking at you crazy like, why would you even put up with that? Why would you let him talk to you like that? Why would you let her talk to you like that? Right? But you stayed. It could be something as small as that. Just stayed. So, all right, hope y'all learned something about grooming. Look for these red flags, you know? And if you're in one, get some help. Call 988. They're open 24/7. You can call them, you can text them. Even if you are unsure if you're being groomed or were groomed, right? Give them a call. All right, guys. Peace and blessings to all of you. And of course, nothing is out of order. If you are listening to this, it is not out of order.